Hello and welcome to our latest episode of Clarity Presents. This month we have Darren Williams, our Head of Management Information and Data, joining us. We're going to talk to Darren about sentiment and statistics. So, hi Darren, thank you very much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. So we want to just have a look at this concept of sentiment and statistics and to see whether or not the two working together can help with the hearts and minds of business travellers and procurement. So first things first, measuring sentiment. Is this actually possible, and is it possible to get an accurate measurement of somebody's sentiment?
It is possible. It is possible. It's not easy though. It's not something where you can just switch on an app and start recording some stuff. So we're using a combination of different techniques to capture and measure sentiment. So for instance, using Watson, IBM Watson, we can harvest what's being said across social media. So if you think of opinions, things like TripAdvisor, you'll generally get very polar opposites of opinions, so where people really love something or where they hate something, and people wanting to really make a statement. But what tends to happen on social media is people are a lot more natural with their language. When they're talking to their friends, I went to this place, I had this experience. And that's really, really useful stuff, and that's some bits that we can capture and we can utilise. But you get a lot of spread around products and experiences as well. So, for instance, we can see what someone's experience was of Virgin Atlantic, for instance, and we can compare that with other people's opinions and get a nice wide range. The other approach that we're doing is we're looking at capturing traveller sentiment as it comes, if you like, in relation to that experience. So I'm working closely with Will Murray, our product manager, looking at our mobile technologies and how we can capture feedback on the fly, if you like. So we know that a person's taken a train or a plane or stayed at a hotel. We know the booking reference and when they went. And through very simple data capture mechanisms, i.e. I'm sat on the train home, I've got my app, I want to give my feedback. So we present the travellers with a number of different options. Okay. So rate the quality of the Wi-Fi at the hotel and the food options and the quality of the room, etc. Make it very simple. Just select a few buttons. I thought that the room was great, the Wi-Fi was terrible. The location was okay. That kind of thing. And then we can track that over time and join that together with the sentiment that we're travelling from social media, and then we get a nice wide range of sentiment from that. So it is possible.
That's interesting. So it's looking at multiple data sets at multiple points, condensing those to get a general overview.
Exactly. But we can look at that together. We can look at the combined view. What is the what's being said around these products? What are the travellers saying? Or we can keep them completely separately as well. Right. Now, in terms of being able to capture accurate data, we really need volumes of data. We need that data over time to be able to hone in and make sure that it's accurate. Because if you've had a bad day or a bad night's sleep, you're going to be overly negative.
Yes.
If you've got a really bad day, you're going to be terribly negative. So it's important that we're tracking over time and we can see the patterns and the trends that are emerging.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I know that you're working on at the moment is crime statistics. So again, looking at these different patterns. Can you tell us a bit more about that and what value using these external data sources has got for both the business and a traveller?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're using is the full range of published crime stats that the UK police force publish. We're also looking at a global provider as well of how we can get a wider range, so looking at countries like South Africa and America, etc. But specifically in the UK, the police publish their stats for each force, and they geocode longitude and latitude every incident, so that we can get a track over time. So we get monthly stats over time, volumes of occurrences based on the police categories. So things like theft from the person, violent assaults, etc., etc. So we can see, over time where these incidents are occurring. What we're doing is we're overlaying actual location data with that.
Right. Okay.
So we're able to plot on a map, an interactive map, where these occurrences are taking place in relation to things like hotels.
So it's that specific to such a tight location?
Yeah, so you can zoom in to street level and have a look at a hotel and have a look at the number of incidents that occurred over time in those in that same location. So you can look at the wider view, the last 3 years, or you can look at a specific year. What we're also working on are some additional enhancements so that a customer can plot their own locations. So not just the hotels, but also their offices.
Right.
So we'll also be able to see where stations are. So I've got one of the views that I talk to our customers about is a nice view of the centre of Manchester, showing where Piccadilly Station is and the hotels, and you can see very easily where the right places should be and how to get there as well. So which are the nice low risk streets to travel.
Yes, because I guess that location isn't in isolation, is it? You'll be coming in via either an airport or a train station or a car park and then having to navigate your way to a location. So it's everything in between those two destinations.
It is, and you hit on a really good point there with the parking. The parking perspective is fascinating, because when I started working through the data, quite quickly I noticed there was quite a high spike around parking areas for instances of violence and sexual assaults. Right. So what we can also do is we can hone in on those car parks and we can work out which are the right places to park. So if you build in your travel program and you're looking at which hotels to utilise, you can also arm your travellers with guidance around, if you're travelling late at night and you're going from this station to that hotel, don't walk, get a cab, or if you're going to drive, stay in these car parks, avoid those car parks.
Excellent. So that's obviously clear, the benefit to the traveller is kept safe and that peace of mind. What's the benefit to the business then of investing in this form of data? So
obviously duty of care is the big one in here, and the business's responsibility to make sure that the travellers are safe as well. But a safe traveller is generally a happy traveller as well. So there are also benefits in terms of employee retention and satisfaction, and that then boils down into how those people are performing. So if you need to travel somewhere late at night, you've got a meeting with a customer the next day. You're not really sure where you're going. You don't know whether it's a dodgy area, etc. How are you going to perform in that meeting? You're probably not going to get to the hotel till late. You maybe have a bad night's sleep, or you've just rushed a food option or something like that. You get up in the morning. There's a knock-on impact in that, and of course there's a cost associated with that. If you're not prepared for that meeting, there's additional costs, additional meeting, additional travel. If you're doing a training course, you probably won't soak it in. There's a wide range of benefits.
Okay. So moving on from the crime statistics, how can data as a whole enhance the traveller experience?
Okay. In lots of different ways. So I'm a very technologically geeky kind of traveller. I want to know everything. I check my app on my phone to see the train times and which platform it's coming from consistently. And so there's bits of data like that can help. So if you're forearmed before you go on a business trip or before you go to a meeting, you understand what the weather's going to be like, what the traffic's going to be like, the train times. By interrogating the rail systems, we can see which train services are generally the late ones, so you can plan your travel. Actually, it's a really important meeting. I don't want to be late. I'm going to travel on that slightly earlier train, or even that slightly later one that's going to get me in on time. The crime stats, obviously, location data. There's just so much that we can pitch in there.
I think a lot of that falls into what we discussed with Will Murray in our Traveller and Technology, kind of bringing together the technological enablers, such as having your phones and GPS and things like that, with then the data, that bringing the two together, you can really enhance that traveller experience. So what are the benefits then of using this more intelligent data? Because everything we've discussed seems to be looking forward, looking at the weather, as you said, planning which hotel to be safer, rather than the traditional view of MI, which is looking backwards and how much did I spend, rather than what can we do. So what are the benefits to a business and to a travel manager looking to put together a travel program of using intelligent data and really focusing on sentiment?
So when we then, if we look at the other side of that, which is focusing on the sentiment side of things, I referenced before around this impact on the traveller and being prepared. Are they happy travellers? There's a great perspective on all this sentiment data that is really overlooked as well, and that is how is the traveller feeling? We've got duty of care to make sure that people are safe, but what about mental health of travellers. If we're getting good scores back from a traveller who consistently travels on a particular route or stays in a particular hotel, and we can see over time they're pretty consistent scores, you eliminate some of the noise, but then there's a bit of a decline in those scores. We get some nice early warnings then, or the customer gets nice early warnings around their staff, and is there something going on? Maybe it's an issue with the property. Maybe there's some works that are started and we need to go and investigate or get our commercial team involved, or maybe there's something a little bit more ominous that's occurring with that traveller as well. So there's not just the budgetary side of things. There's that ability to actually look ahead and start to see some of those early alerts and try and head off some of these sickness issues or whatever if we possibly can.
Absolutely, because I think that in essence is Hearts and Minds, that we start to look more towards a traveller-centric programme and how the travel is impacting the traveller, rather than just looking at the cost, because there's a massive difference between somebody who stays one night once a month in a hotel to somebody that's got maybe 50% of their time is in that same hotel. That one person might think it's fantastic to have a night away and get to an early night and a bit of room service. The other person, the novelty wears off. So I guess this can really help identify any tipping points.
Absolutely,
as you say.
We're seasoned travellers. We know that over time it just drags. You want to get to somewhere nice and quickly. You don't you want nice straightforward routes. You want to know where you're going. You want to know that the area is safe. You want to know that you get a decent night's sleep, something to eat, and you refresh ready for your meeting the following day. We don't want to max out our budget and our spend and go up to the expense limit or whatever. We just want to do what we need to be comfortable and then move on to the next trip.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Darren, and for joining us today. That was really interesting, giving us some insight there into how we can start to use data to go towards a more traveller-centric programme without incurring too many additional costs. Thank you.
You're welcome.
In our next episode, we'll be speaking with Piers Bishop from We Thrive, and we're going to be looking at the balance between life and work. We really hope you can join us then.